2 weeks ago, I sat here in this very chair and celebrated super hard that the Mercosur trade agreement finally passed the European Council. And this was a very big deal because only last week, Trump once again tried to impose additional tariffs on us. So this deal was the perfect chance to finally diversify away from the United States. But sadly, and to me, this really is a super big disappointment, the European Parliament decided to send the deal to the European Court of Justice for a legal check. And honestly, I do not understand how so many MEPs could vote this way. And in this video, we will look exactly how this deal failed, which MEPs, and specifically which MEPs, voted against this, and then of course, how things will continue from here. But before we get into all of this, we do need to do a very quick recap. Basically, for those of you that have been living under a rock, Mercosur is a trade deal between the EU and the South American bloc. You know, Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay, with Bolivia expected to join later. And if this deal goes through, it would literally be the biggest trade agreement on the planet, covering over 700 million people. And the goal is to cut tariffs by up to 91% over the next 15 years. And if you really want the exact breakdown of who benefits and where tariffs drop, pause the video right here, because this chart shows the reductions across industry and agriculture. And also, really note the strict agricultural quotas to limit the impact on European farmers. So, what actually happened? After the European Council gave the deal the political green light, it moved into the next phase, the European Parliament, which would normally be the final step before ratification. But yeah, here's where things got really messy. The left and the Greens pushed through a motion arguing that the approval by the Council and the European Parliament might not be enough. In their view, Mercosur shouldn't be treated as an EU-only deal. It should be a mixed agreement, meaning that it would also need ratification by all 27 national parliaments. So, they demanded an extra vote in the European Parliament, with the question, should Mercosur be sent to the European Court of Justice for a legal ruling? And crucially, voting in favor of this new motion would delay the entire agreement by 18 to 24 months. And considering that this deal has been in the making for 25 years, this would be an additional disappointment. So, with the stakes this high, Parliament voted 3 days ago. And to the applause and cheers from its backers, the motion passed. 334 in favor, 324 against, and 11 abstentions. Which means the Mercosur trade deal will now be sent to the European Court of Justice for review. Now though, what I would like to do is break all of this down by European party groups, so you can see who voted for the motion and against the motion. And the strongest support came from the far left, the far right, and yes, the Greens. They all voted in favor with a big majority. Meanwhile, the strongest opposition came from the center-right EPP, the center-left S&D, and the centrists Renew Europe. And honestly, Renew Europe was a big disappointment. This is supposed to be the liberal, pro-business, pro-trade group. Shouldn't they be 100% against it? Well, the issue here is France. Macron's party, Renaissance, dominates Renew. And French politics right now is absolutely toxic on anything involving agriculture. Now, if we look at the vote by country, it gets even more revealing. As expected, France, Poland, and Hungary voted heavily in favor of sending Mercosur to court. But then, we also got a few surprises that basically flipped the outcome. For example, in Romania and Greece, 13 socialist lawmakers voted in favor instead of abstaining, after pressure from the far right back at home. One socialist MEP, speaking anonymously of course, said that the parties had become noticeably more extreme in the last few weeks, especially after the wave of agricultural protests. And then there's Hungary. The 7 Hungarian EPP members were the real wildcard here. Orban basically attacked Tisza and Peter Magyar as Brussels puppets and accused them of betraying farmers by backing Mercosur. And yeah, with the parliamentary elections in April, the Tisza group ended up voting in favor of the motion. And then there's the Greens. And honestly, I'm going to point at the 8 German Greens here who voted for the motion. And honestly, shame on you. Because the hypocrisy here is immense. You see, only a year ago, CDU's Merz tabled a motion around migration that ended up passing the parliament with votes from the AfD. And the uproar in Germany was crazy. Basically, the Greens and lots of other centrist and center-left parties all went to the streets with massive demonstrations against this breaking of the firewall. And now, in the European Parliament, the Greens did the exact same thing. They voted together with the far-right forces to pass this motion. Again, this is just so hypocritical, and I'm really disappointed with the Greens' double standards here. And interestingly, even the Greens in Germany are kind of admitting this all over social media. So, what now? Well, the European Court of Justice, as you've seen before, really doesn't work fast. The process can easily take around 2 years. And from here, there's basically two paths. Option 1. The ECJ says everything's fine, and only the Parliament needs to approve. It then basically goes back for a final vote, and the deal can move forward. And according to what I've read, this is the most likely option. And then we've got option 2. The ECJ says that the Parliament and the national parliaments need to approve the deal. And with 27 national parliament votes, the deal will unlikely pass and will need significant changes, or it could even die altogether. So yeah, we're in for another roller coaster ride over the next couple of years. But while this court process drags on, there is growing talk in Brussels about applying the deal provisionally, potentially from March onwards, once the very first Mercosur country, in this case most likely Paraguay, gives its consent. And that would mean that parts of the trade deal could start being implemented before the European Court of Justice finishes its review, and before Parliament holds a final vote. Germany, of course, is strongly in favor of this, and France, again, of course, is completely against it. But according to a recent Reuters report, provisional application is very likely. So, this is what I think. I mean, you know I'm disappointed, and I really don't understand our European Parliament. Have they still not gotten it? We speak so loudly every week about we need independence. My God, we need to diversify away from the States, from China, etc. And the very first chance we get to do this with Mercosur, we blow it. And again, shame on all of the MEPs who voted in favor of this motion. And I guarantee you, a lot of these MEPs know it wasn't the right thing to do, but they caved to far-right pressure and to farmer protests across the continent. It's honestly a disgrace. And to our farmers, I also have a message. This deal has plenty of provisions in it to protect you. I mean, let's just start with the quotas here. 1.5% of European beef consumption is allowed to be imported from South America. 1.5% only. I mean, seriously, guys, what are we talking about here? And that's not even all. The European Commission has also made 40 billion euros available to European farmers early in the next budget. And there's also safeguards in the deal, so that if we notice that the deal is not really working out for us, we can freeze certain parts of it. So, there's plenty to protect you. And let's also have a look at some more numbers. Agriculture and fisheries and forestry, so all those three sectors combined, make up 1.2% of the European GDP. I'll be honest with you, that's not a whole lot. And while, of course, these sectors are super important for us, they're not the only sectors. And I honestly don't see other sectors, like our industry, getting the special treatment that farmers on our continent get. So yeah, all of these demonstrations around the country, are they really necessary? They've probably cost us more than the actual cost that the Mercosur agreement will cause to our actual farmers. Anyway, enough ranting. How do we go from here? Should we apply this agreement provisionally? See, I have mixed feelings here, because on the one hand, I say yes, because I love the content of the Mercosur agreement. It's the right step to take, and it will make us more competitive again. But pushing it through provisionally without getting the final approval from the Parliament, there is a democratic issue here. Yes, the European Council has approved it, so the countries have said yes. But excluding one of your houses, in this case the lower house, the Parliament, is questionable. And yeah, not exactly democratic. So in a perfect world, we would, of course, wait for the ECJ ruling. And that's where the big issue for me is in this process and with the EU. Why does this ruling take up to 24 months? Why can we not get this done in 2-3 months and then move on? That is the big problem here. So my answer would be, either we speed up this ECJ process to down to 3 months, which probably isn't possible, or we do it provisionally. because at least the member states have approved it, and the need is now. We cannot wait for 2 years. Now, I know this has been bad news, and I've not exactly been positive in this video, but there is also some good news, as Iceland is actually moving closer to the European Union, and it could become the EU's 28th member state. We made a whole video on this, linked above. And finally, a huge thank you to our amazing patrons and YouTube members. Because over the last couple of weeks, so many of you have signed up. And we're now just 87 euros away from our target of 1,200 euros in monthly donations. Thank you. And if any of you that are not signed up yet want to help us reach that target, you can sign up today using the link in the description below. It really helps us keep this channel healthy, so we can keep making more content for you. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you to our presidents, Kristin and Peter, Clement Daniel Dev, Eupedia Giuseppe HVDJ, Kiki Loxton Mashex Mikael Rashid, Shaukien Jan Steffen Unite Europe, Westervang Ave Europa, and our latest president, Brindau. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.